Tennessee State head coach Eddie George joins us in his fourth season. Eddie, yeah, you shaking your head too. Does it feel like it or no?
No, it still feels like I'm in my first season.
How
You know,
so?
because it still feels fresh. It still feels alive and like it's brand new. I look forward to coming into work every day. It doesn't feel like work. It feels it's a calling. It's a lot of it's weird because there's a lot of tough decisions you have to make. You're in a position where you're not going to be necessarily appease everybody, and you can't. Um, but it just feels like, man, so much to learn, so much to do, so much I can improve at on a day-to-day, year-to-year basis, and it's been an absolute joy. So the years have gone by really, really fast, and it's hard to believe that, man, I'm going on my senior year as a head coach. So, but it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Have you always felt this way
About
coming
football?
into a season about the role as head coach?
Yeah, well, going back my first year, didn't know what to expect. Coming off of COVID, didn't have a recruiting class. Basically took on, inherited a team and trying to change the mindset. But now this is my fourth iteration of this, of a recruiting class, do transfers, getting my arms and head wrapped around the challenges and the issues that needed to be addressed, both on the field, off the field, and personnel wise. Constantly dealing with that. Changing out my staff. Every year has been different, and I'm really pleased and excited about the work that I've seen our team put in, plus our coaching staff, and the development of our guys. And it's the mindset. I'm like, man, I can't wait to watch these guys go to work, come July 31st and start to compete August 31st against Mississippi Valley State.
So let's talk a little bit about that schedule because you mentioned the opener with
Mhm.
Mississippi Valley State. Or do they call that Jerry Rice U coach or?
Hey, they had some when Jerry played back then. Hey, they had some dudes now, and
Yeah.
they still have some great players. The skill guys are really good. It's a great way to start off the season, week 0 at home, the John Merritt Classic. Excited to play against a brand like Mississippi Valley State, given their rich history, should bring out a lot of fans, and we want to have our hands full for that one.
I want to talk about the conference, but I have to ask Fargo, North Dakota to Washington, D.C. What a really neat schedule.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, it's a great schedule that will play against some traditional HBCUs,
Mhm.
of course, the OVC/Big South, and also a great team like North Dakota State. Go up into Fargo and their dome and their place, given their rich history for winning national championships, producing guys in the NFL, two great brands. I think it's exciting. Our kids are excited about it. And really, since I've been here, we had a great schedule. Went to Notre Dame last
Mhm.
year, played a quarter and a half that was pretty good, and then the wheels fell off. But for the most part, our kids are excited about the schedule, and have an opportunity to play. And like you said, Fargo to Washington D.C. against Howard, and of course, a very talented and a competitive conference, the OVC in the Big South.
I want to. I took a deep dive in your numbers, in your statistics from 23, Eddie, and the thing that struck me was if you pull out that Notre Dame game and then look at it in totality, a really good football team just needed a couple plays here and there to improve upon that 6-5 season.
And the turning point was at Charleston Southern. Got off to an horrendous start, 14-0, and gave up two defensive touchdowns, two pick sixes. And that game could have gone south quickly. But our guys were resilient. They fought back, found our way back into the game, tied the game up in the fourth quarter. Had a costly turnover that changed the fortune of the game, the outcome of the game. But I think that night was the first time I saw my team really emotional after a loss. And that's when it appeared to me that these guys really cared. They were really invested. Prior to that, it was like, hey, we lost. Where's the next party? But this was a hurtful loss. So now how do you build on that? And we didn't win the next couple of games after that, but that's something to build on to the season. Say, hey, we're only a couple of plays here or there, an opportunity missed, a penalty here, a bad call, mismanagement on my behalf in a game from winning 7, 8, 9 ball games. So we're right there. It's no longer a talent gap. It's more of a development gap and holding each other accountable, the ownership, the leadership, the development, and really buying into the process on a day-to-day basis that's going to produce hardware at the end of the season. So that's what I'm encouraged about and excited about for this team this year.
How quickly, when you get into camp, or does it take into the season, that you can recognize exactly what you just talked about in that last sentence, the buy-in? Is there a point in time at camp when you see it? And you've been around this game forever and been at the highest
Uh,
levels. Where does it come in your evaluation?
well, my evaluation is in the winter. That's where you really start to see the buy-in. Is when it's they're on my clock. There is no carry hours. You know, we go at 6 o'clock in the morning. We start, we work, and I find out quickly, who loves football and who doesn't, who loves the grind and who doesn't, who loves the work and who doesn't, and how consistent you are. So there are phases to this, and they've been very consistent through each phase in terms of developing and growing. And I mean, just the amount of work that they're spending outside of the hours, doing it on their own, throwing on their own, working on various drills, sharpening iron, building each other up, I think has been tremendous. So that part is there. Now we just have to get through the dog days of summer camp, and make sure that we're pushing it and we're resting. We're doing all the things from a habit standpoint to develop that. And just hearing the language. When I hear guys repeat and start sounding like me, sounds like, okay, they're on the right page. And it's not something that's phony. It's nothing that's just trying to impress me, but it's become a lifestyle. And that's what all this is about, is becoming and developing young people to be their best selves, to help them reach their full potential as people through the platform of football. And when I'm starting to just see it and hear it without me talking about it, we're on the right track.
All right. Three of these performers, I'm going to focus on the offensive side now. Keeping Draylon Ellis healthy and in the game, and also Jordan Gant and Jalai Dean. You appear to be set at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. It's got to make an offensive running back pretty happy.
Well, the most important key element to that is the offensive line and identity philosophically. I had to change some things from a offensive identity standpoint. We're going to change some things in terms of what we do, how we approach it, tweak it. And up front was very important for us to get bigger and then more athletic. And like you mentioned, to have DJ in the building who's been battle tested, both on and off the football field, and watch him grow and mature from last year to this year. Had an exceptional spring, and he talked about it on in his media day that he's grown as a person, and I've seen it. I'm watching it. He's taking more ownership of the team, more buy-in. He's being more vocal, holding himself more accountable. That's a huge deal. So if your quarterback is doing that, that's had experience, who is extremely talented,
Mm-hmm.
getting well coached, it can really develop some great things. But certainly at receiver, Jalil Dean, he's a transfer from Tennessee Tech, gave us some headaches last year. He's a worker, and that entire room has really gotten a lot better, both in quality of player and mindset.
And there's a guy that shares your last name on the defensive line. So let's flip to that side and talk a little bit about that. And particularly this guy, Eric George.
Yeah,
Help me
yeah.
out with that.
I'm still trying to figure this dude out.
How proud of you of his freshman season? Come on, Dad.
I mean, as a father, I'm extremely proud. Just the development and growth that he's had in the last year, how he's grown as a person into becoming a college student. Academically, he's on the dean's list. Athletically, he takes his craft very seriously. It's not much I have to say to him. I don't have to pride him and to convince him to get in the weight room. I have to pull him out, to tell him to get rest. Um, he's on top of his work. I don't have any issues with him off the field. It has been a joy to watch him grow and develop into the man that he's becoming. He's a All-American last year on the field. Had an amazing year. Still a lot of growth that he can do, and I'm watching him develop and become a grown man. Very athletic, very explosive off the ball, and just really the defensive line. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this fall.
That the key focus for you on defense is the line. You think that's your strong point?
I think it is, in terms of on paper, the bodies that we have in there. Listen, it's no secret. We're going to stop the run. We want to force teams to be one dimensional. Um, you know, we can do that. I think, we're in a good situation. Is force teams offensively to pick that ball up and throw it. And let our pass rush get to it. Now, in order to do that, we've got to be dominant on the first two downs. And something that I've seen in the last couple of years, we weren't very big up front. Wasn't quite stout enough to take on the teams that run the ball efficiently in this league to be a champion. UT Martin, SEMO, now Eastern Illinois, we're all able, Tennessee Tech, we're all able to run the football. You got to be able to run the football and stop the run in November. That's tried and true. And that's something that we've talked about as a staff, in season, as a team, identity wise. So our offense and defensive line, they have to be the strength of this football team. Without that, you're always going to look at a team that's right around 500 or less. So to win championships, you got to be strong in the trenches.
And this is someone that would know about running the football. I got two fun questions to wrap up.
Yeah.
You don't get to be a big part of it, but describe to me, be it the Hole or be it at Nissan, what game day is like with TSU.
Wow. When you're in the hole, it's nothing greater than being in the hole. It's chaos, it's energy, it's the true pageantry and tradition of HBCU football in the whole. Nothing like it. The fans love it. You can just roll right out of bed and you're right there. Nissan is a little bit different of an experience. It's more of the professional feel, the tailgating in the parking lot, um, into the stadium, into the suites. It doesn't quite hold the same intimacy as being in Hale because of the magnitude of it. You're sitting about 5 to 6,000 fans into it kind of feels empty. You're missing that
Sure.
element, but it provides somewhat of an advantage because you can bring a team that's kind of sleepy in there and there's not a lot of energy. You can jump on top of them, use it to your advantage. So each one has its advantages and disadvantages, and I would just hope that in the future, that we can have more games on campus, to really have that as a home field advantage for us. I think our fan base wants it. Certainly, we would love that. Have it renovated and developed it where it harkens back to the days of John Merritt
Mhm.
and that whole energy and the community, what it meant for Jefferson Street in this part of town was a big deal in terms of economically speaking. So um, would love to have more games here.
I'll say the last one for off camera. Great to see you, Coach. Best of luck to you. And we look forward to seeing what the Big Blue can accomplish this season.
Thank you.